free, do what I want, any old time. I said I'm free, do what I want, any old time.
You're led into a room and you're told that you are going to be killed. But you're going to get one chance to save yourself. And you're told, look around you in this room, you will see two doors. One door will lead to freedom, the other door will lead to certain death. In front of each door there is a guard. You don't know which guard is which, but what you do know, what we'll tell you now, is that one of the two guards will always tell you the truth when you ask him a question, and the other guard will always lie when you ask him a question. You can ask one question, and here's your chance to save yourself. We have to be very clear here to differentiate between want and need on the one hand and will on the other hand. Want and need are things that are dictated to us by our bodies. You have no say on the matter. Literally have no say on the matter. Your body needs oxygen to survive. Your body needs food. Your body will have desires and wants that you are informed of. As we saw in the previous episode, we have this thing called a storyteller, as I called it. There's a module in the brain called a storyteller that will try and rationalize the information that's going around the brain about the body. And it translates that into I want this, for example, or I want that. I see a nice girl and I want to meet her, for example. Those are your wants and needs, and they have nothing to do with free will. They are just the products of what your body is like. Where will comes into it is when you can evaluate those wants and needs and make a decision on how you're going to respond to those wants and needs. There are certain needs that you have no input on, like the need to breathe, for example. You cannot decide not to breathe. You can try and you can hold your breath for a while, but eventually your body will just override your will. In other cases, it might be possible to impose your will on your wants and needs and cause your body to behave in a certain way, or informed by your wants and needs to use your will to make sure that you get what you want, for example. Which brings me back to the situation I told you about. You want to survive. That is what your body tells you. And you are therefore imbued with this will to survive, this want, this need to survive. Your will try and ensure that you do survive. But how does it do that in this situation? In previous cases, the experiments that I was talking to you about before, you were just asked to make a decision and act on it. And that decision could clearly be seen to be bubbling up out of subconscious, non-conscious mind processes, and then it was only rationalized after the fact that those decisions were made by myself. The storyteller in your mind will convince itself that it made a decision. And of course, in a way it's right, because the body as a whole is what you are, and you made the decision. It's just that you didn't consciously make the decision. The decision was made on a non-conscious level. So will didn't come into it at that point in time. And this is where I think the situation I'm outlined at the beginning of the video is so different, because in this case you have no choice but to bring this thing to the forefront of your consciousness. Your innate mechanisms for dealing with the world are not able to deal with this situation. It's too complicated for them. But your consciousness, which is in cahoots very closely with your storyteller, that is where the rationalization takes part, and that is the part of your mind that is able to think rationally. So in order to solve that problems, you have to start thinking about it consciously. How do I get out of that room alive? And in order to even be able to exert that will and do it, you might have to have some training in logic. But if you have, the answer is not that difficult to obtain, and the solution to this particular problem, just in case you're wondering, is that you go to either one of the two guards and ask him, if I ask the other guard, is this door the door that leads to freedom, pointing at one of the doors, what answer would I get? And the thing is, no matter which one of the two guards you ask, you will always get the lie, because the lying guy will know what the truth-telling guy will tell you, and will then lie about that. The truth-telling guy will know what lie the lie-telling guy will tell you, and then truthfully report the lie to you. In either case, you're going to get the lie. And you then can work out the opposite door must be the correct door and walk to freedom. So that's the solution. But that solution was worked out consciously. Your mind now knows what the answer is to the problem, and that is where the decision is made, like, I need to go to that door in order to be safe. And then the usual non-conscious processes start bubbling up again and make you walk to the door, turn the handle and walk out. But it is the conscious part that informed the decision, and that is where you did exert your will. So it is possible in situations where you need to rationalize in order to solve a problem, to be in charge of your decisions. And that is the important thing. It's this being in charge. And I think this tells us that one of the two things that I think are required in order to be able to claim free will is attainable, even if it's only fleetingly and only when you are consciously engaged in your decision making, when you consciously have to think about your decision making. But at those points in time, you are in charge. Your consciousness are in charge, and then that's why your storyteller will then tell you you are in charge. The thing is any of this free? So yes, you have will, and you can exert that will, but is it free will? And with that, I'm going to have to leave you for 10 days, I'm afraid, because I'm going on vacation. So just keep this in mind, and let's see where we go after on my return. Thank you very much.